Well, welcome everybody to another episode of Whitebeard's Kitchen. Today I'm going to try and create, and I've done it before, it went down well, is a British Indian restaurant butter chicken, or as they would call it in the restaurants, Chicken Makhani. So it's a long process, it's a curry made with love and care, but no doubt it'll luckily if it lasts 10 minutes once it hits the plate. That's the unfortunate thing about it. Okay folks, so I'm going to just show you a couple of things. There's that many ingredients. I'm going to show you about the marinade first of all. Well folks, what I have here is roughly about, I'm going to say about 1 kg of chicken. And what I'm going to do is just simply put this into the bowl. I'm going to marinate this. Ideally you should do this overnight, and they're good bite-sized pieces. Try and keep them as evenly as possible. I've done my best. It's chicken thighs that I'm using rather than chicken breast. I just think it's a lot more flavoursome. And I know that obviously in restaurants and things like that it's probably the chicken breast that's used anyhow, not to worry. So what I'm going to add in now is roughly the juice. I was going to say the juice of half a lemon. This is quite a small lemon that I have, so I'll use the juice of it. Don't worry if there's any pips going. You'll not swallow these because when it's fried you'll be able to pick them out. And if you're a bit OCD like myself, you probably would go rummaging, but in this instance I'm not going to bother. What I'm going to now add in is a good teaspoon and a half of turmeric powder. I'm not showing you all the ingredients and spices right at the very beginning for this because I wouldn't have enough room on my table. What I'm going to now add in is a teaspoon, I'm going to say a heaped teaspoon and a quarter of Kashmiri chilli powder, and it gives it that nice red colour. Last but not least, if one can find the part they open, good old full fat Greek yogurt. And I must say this recipe is, if you suffer from cholesterol problems, Jesus, be prepared to phone the ambulance after. So I'm going to say I'm going to put in good 3 tablespoons. And normally I would mix things by hand here, but because it is turmeric powder and I do not want to have yellow hands for the next probably century or until one dies, I'm just going to give it a mix. Could have used rubber gloves or gloves of some description, so give that a good mix through. And ideally, once I get this all mixed, if you can marinate this overnight, that's even better because it'll let all those flavours incorporate into it. What I'm going to get now just as well is some, I'm going to say 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil as well. So excuse me if my voice disappears, so I'm going to just eyeball this. So 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, that's 1, 2, and just make sure this is all well mixed. So the Kashmiri chili powder, which I'm using, you could use ordinary chili powder. You know, you can go for mild, medium or hot, but same as a butter chicken, I wouldn't recommend the hot chili powder. The thing about Kashmiri chili powder is that I suppose, yes it is, there's a bit of a kick to it, of course, like any chili, but it will give that lovely red colour. I know you're probably going, he's coloured blind and it's bucking orange. That's fine. There will be more red, there will be more Kashmiri powder to add in for the gravy. And what they call it is a Makhani or Makhani gravy for the butter chicken, but I just call it a butter chicken gravy, and hopefully I have pronounced that properly. I think I have, because I do like my Indian cooking, surprise, surprise. In another life, I might be born to another nation rather than Irish. I'm going now to pop this into the fridge. I'm obviously not going to be able to do it overnight. I'm going to try and give it a good hour and a bit, or an hour at least. maybe 3/4 of an hour because I'm trying to cook this in real time. But ideally, if you can do this overnight, the flavours will be even better. Well everyone, there are a lot of ingredients in this. I'm just going to explain what is going to be in it, and then as we go through it, I will show you the process of what goes in first and what doesn't go in first. So obviously what I have here, I'm going to show you and bring it over to the board, I'll take it away, is half a cup of vegetable oil, okay? I have about 3.5 small onions, the equivalent of a big large onion, 1.5 onion, large onions. I have 1.5 teaspoons of ginger, 3 tablespoonfuls of garlic, 3 tablespoonfuls of tomato puree. I was going to say 800 kilograms. What is it with me? We're talking kilograms and grams. 800 grams of tomatoes. If you can get the ones on the vine and you have loads of money, that's great. Mine are just the ordinary good old tomato. Probably 4 relatively medium-sized green chilies. I don't have any fresh coriander today, so unfortunately sometimes it can be very hard to get in my neck of the woods in the Mourne Mountains. Obviously I have the good old, again, water, which not will I use all of this, but I will use some, so I'm not going to give you any particular measurement on that. That's just for making up the Makhani gravy or the butter chicken gravy. Salt, yes, it's white, so I have 2 teaspoonfuls of salt, 2 teaspoonfuls of cumin powder, 2 teaspoonfuls of coriander powder. We have a teaspoon of paprika just to bring the redness out. What's called kasuri methi or methi leaves, and yes, I was able to get them the other day. Generally these don't go into the end in some curries and you kind of can just crumble them. If you haven't got this, and obviously what I have used before is fenugreek seeds, and say this usually goes in at the end, but it goes in at the beginning of this curry. But if you haven't got these and you have the fenugreek seeds, which I have, the fenugreek seeds definitely need to go in and can't be left at the end. 1.5 teaspoonfuls of Kashmiri chilli powder, and I have 1 teaspoon of garam masala. For me, I have, and you don't necessarily need to do this, but I just like it. I have 4 to 5 small green cardamom pods and just a piece of cassia bark or cinnamon stick. What will be added in, and I'm going to try and show you, is I will have another 2 tablespoonfuls of oil. I will add in, if I can show it here, again bring it over, this will be near towards the end, 40 grams of butter. There's probably about 100 grams here, the whole freaking nut will go in, and probably maybe a wee bit more, probably bring that up to about 120. What I have here as well is roughly about 3/4 of a cup of almond powder. You could use flaked almonds and grind those up, or buy fresh almonds and grind those up. I will add more yoghurt, probably about maybe 4 tablespoons, and I haven't got it out, but I'll not forget it because they all like the korma type, tikka masala type, and this type of curry here where there's a bit of sugar in it. As I say, me, I would try my hand at anything. I have tried the real spicy val, but that's neither here nor there. I will not say the outcome of that many moons ago. But I have this, so I will add probably about sugar near towards the end. Also about 4 tablespoons of sugar, and I think then probably that will be the last. So folks, the chicken has been marinating for about an hour with the yogurt, the Kashmiri chili and the turmeric. Have the oven set 200 degrees in a fan oven, 220 degrees in a conventional oven, mine's a fan oven. This will go in to the oven for at least 20 minutes, but I'll keep a wee eye on it because there's yogurt on this. I'll get that nice charred effect that I got before. You can probably hear the noise here. This is my supersonic burner, just making sure. But I'm going to turn it right down because I use this mostly for the wok. If I'm doing Chinese or cooking or quick stir fries, all that type of stuff. Can't use it for this. So I'm going to slowly but surely, my God, the shakes in me, I need a drink. I'm adding in my vegetable oil and I'm just going to let that heat. Turn this up a wee bit. and when it heats, I'll put in my cardamom pods and a piece of cinnamon. So starting off with my cardamom pods, I haven't cracked them, should have done, but hey ho. Oh, and the other thing I did mention when I was showing you the dried spices, 2 teaspoonfuls. I'm just using regular. I've actually been able to get mild curry powder rather than the hot stuff that I normally have in the house, because I went to my Asian grocery store when I was at a meeting the other week, so popped in Belfast. Right, I'm going to turn this down a wee bit in very quickly with the garlic and the ginger. So that was roughly maybe about 45 seconds to a minute. Okay, that's still quite high, so I'm going to turn it down a bit more. Normally we do this on the hob, and I used to do my curries in the oven, but now that I have started watching the likes of My Little Kitchen with Shamsa, Latif's inspired, great humble guy, has a restaurant. I've now found out, I remember, Stoke-on-Trent. My sister-in-law, Karen, lives over in Stafford, so, which isn't that far away. And should we maybe head over? Okay. I think it's not that far away. I intend, hopefully, to make a visit. So, you never know, if I'm over this year, that take look out. And the other guy that I've just started watching is a guy, Al's Kitchen. He's on the go. Great home cook as well, but does absolutely super curries. So that is the onion, the garlic and the ginger, as you can see, doing nicely. Now to go in with the onion. The onion isn't finely sliced, because I should say, like the British Indian base gravy that I did, not my last video, but the video before, this will be blitzed. And also I intend to retain some of this gravy, I hope, because I can use it in the likes of tikka masala and that type of dish. So hopefully I'll have enough left over that when I come to do a tikka masala for the house, or even indeed maybe in a korma. Not that much of a difference. The only thing is, obviously with this there's no carrots or green pepper, but looks absolutely lovely. Oh, there's a little bit of skin, you don't want that. So I'm just going to turn this up from a low on this to try and get it to a low medium. And this doesn't need to be browned. The onions don't need to, I suppose, need as much caramelization, if that's the proper word. Yep, I'm getting there slowly but surely. I'm remembering all these wonderful cookery words, otherwise it would have been, I'll fuck this in and throw that in, and sometimes I go, and I will say things like that. So, I say, my videos sometimes may not be for, my videos aren't really for children. I do have a tendency to swear. The last 2 videos I've been rather professional. Probably today I'm not. Don't ask me why. This curry, it's not the quickest to make. Absolutely delicious if you get it right, and I have done it before and it was kind of spot on, so knowing today I'll fuck up, what do you call it, because it's in front of the camera. But it is going to be thirsty work, and I don't know whether you can see this, but I am going to have, once I get my spices in, one is going to have a Smithwick's red ale. This is a lovely Irish ale. So I should keep this for the curry because I don't think I have any more, and I don't want to be running out down to the shops again. I'm kind of the shopper of the house. That's not to say the better half doesn't do it, but she hates the bloody thing, and she hates going with me because I spend that long in it. You're probably asking me why am I not doing this on my stove top. Well, my friggin' gas ran out. Went to the shop and they hadn't got the bloody bottle that I have, so they'll have them in tomorrow morning. I haven't got a spare. Turn this up another wee bit. It's just very temperamental, this thing. You know, you turn your back on it when you turn it up, and holy shit, try and get the onions. Speed the process up a tiny bit. Just going to check. I think I've had my chicken in probably for about 10 minutes. So that's something that I need to keep a wee eye on. Right, I'm going to turn this down ever so slightly because what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down now to a low, get the dried spices in, and you don't want these to burn. Excuse the hands, want to get it as much in as possible. Of course, I've touched fucking turmeric. So, the thing about turmeric, you get that stuff on your clothes. By Christ, it's really hard to get it out, and particularly if it's damp. So, just want to do these on a low heat. You know, even if you store your spices in jars, or sometimes I don't have enough jars. It just takes the dampness out of it, and also you just want to fry off your spices just to get the oils out of the spices as well. So, you know, I can smell this, absolutely super. Turn it down. Going to go in now with the tomato puree. There, that's that in, and of course, there's always a piece. Yes, I licked my finger. You didn't see it, but hey ho. Didn't lick the spoon. I'm getting better at that. I'm sure you can all give me a round of applause. So I just want to cook the rawness off the tomato puree for about a minute or so. Right folks, slight bit of a mishap. The video went off. This is, as I say, one of these curries that's it's love and care. So I don't know where I left off, but anyhow, I've added more water in. I've got my tomatoes and all in. I don't normally, if I'm doing on the stove top, I would add water in bits at a time. I don't normally add as much, but because of this particular burner that I'm using, because as I mentioned, maybe you didn't hear it, so apologies. The joys of trying to do video yourself when your good lady, who is my editor constantly all the time, because I don't mind technology, but I just haven't got the patience to sit down and learn how to edit things yet. But she's not doing the camera work today, and probably is the day that I wouldn't needed her. Not her fault, she's busy with her own work, God help her, sitting writing away and doing up her candles. So I'm just going to put the lid on this. I will come back every 5 minutes. Going to let it cook for probably about 3/4 of an hour, maybe, and get things tidied up. And as I said, thirsty work. Let's have a beer. Just checking the Makhani Gravy, or I'll call it the butter chicken gravy. Things are doing nicely. Tomatoes are slowly, nicely softening down. Could maybe turn the heat up a wee bit and just keep a better eye on it. So lid back on. This is the chicken done simply almost like the last time, just spices slightly different. So that's it ready. When the gravy is ready, it's cooked up. The chicken will go into the gravy probably for about 20 minutes or so, and that will hopefully be the butter chicken. But there's a few processes yet with the gravy still to go. That's the gravy done, so it's just cooling. I am going to blitz this in the food processor and try and get it down to as smooth a paste as possible. I'll maybe strain it, I may not. I'll see how it goes, and hopefully we're slowly but surely getting there. As I say, it's one of those curries, you know, it's made with labour of love, but hopefully when it is finished and it is ready for plating up, that the good folks in the house here will enjoy it, and they'll scoff a lot. Well folks, coming near to the end, so you'll see in here I probably have 50 grams of butter. Turn this down low, get my butter melted, then what I want to do is add some oil. I'm just lazy, so I'm going to add in here what I hope will be roughly 2 tablespoons of oil. I'm using coconut oil here. I know it's a bit hard looking, but hey ho, you're going to use that. I know I've used vegetable oil right on up, but you know, please do use the vegetable oil. Get that butter melting. I'm going to add in here 4 tablespoons roughly of almond powder that I showed you earlier. Turn that down just a wee bit. Don't want this to burn. It's a wee bit on the high side. Hopefully I haven't turned it out, good goodness. Give that a good stir around. You want to get that nice nutty flavour or nuttiness going with the almond powder. Okay. Just make sure it doesn't burn I know, another wee tiny piece of butter. I'm going to say that's probably about 40 grams. We'll add a wee bit less. Get that stirring. Just get a bit of colour on the almond powder. Scrape it in from the edges. Wow, the old tooth went there. And the smell of this already, so is absolutely fan-dabby-dozy, as I would say. So what we're going to do now is add in 4 to 5 heaped tablespoons sugar. Okay, get that in, scrape it off, make sure I've got that going, keep it stirring round. So, quickly get the chicken, which I showed, and this is more or less cooked, to be honest. You know, I'm not worried wee bits of that oil going in at all. It's flavouring that. As you can see, this is not for the faint-hearted, and one has not finished quite yet. Okay, get that out of the road. The bacon tray. Yes, my hands are clean. So, what I want to do is mix that lovely chicken up. Right. Along with the sugar, the almond and the smell of this. You know, I reckon if you could have a chicken cake with almond, or chicken almond cake, this is what it would be like. Because that's what it smells like. You know, so I have this just on a low heat here. Get that cooking a little bit. Yeah, just scraping those wee bits at the bottom, don't want it to burn. Okay. So, I didn't strain my gravy. As I say, I just blitzed it. I did add a wee taste of water when I was blitzing it. So what I'm going to do now is the butter chicken gravy that I made. I'm adding in probably about 4 these type ladles, which I'm going to say is possibly in the round about 4.5. There's 5. I'm greedy. Make it 6. Why not? There's plenty more for another curry, which I will do. I'll freeze this. Get this moving so it doesn't burn. Give it a good stir around. I'm going to move the pot round a bit. I have this on a low heat. Oops, a daisy. Say simply because this burner that I have, you take your eyes off it at your peril. Just adjusted the camera. I think that might have been a little bit blurry. So I'd say about 50 grams of butter. Here is probably another 50 chunks going in. To be honest, this is really a rich dish, and you can call the ambulance after, but make sure that it's a cardiac ambulance. Whatever the hell you do. So I'm going to say that's about maybe about 110 grams. And here we are, the final piece, roughly. We'll say about another 30. So it's probably about 140, 150 grams of butter in this. Oh, doesn't that look absolutely wonderful? And if you think that's a wee bit thick, there's nothing. I mean, you could add maybe a wee taste of water to this. I might do that later because the hungry hordes are a way out. So I'm cooking this that I'll just have to heat it up later. You see that butter, absolutely delicious, melting in that. That's fantastic, absolutely. I was going to add some cream in this. I don't think I'll bother. Right, Okay. And yes, if you can see, eventually I've got my beer. Yep, my Smithwick's. I think I bloody well deserve it. This is a fantastic butter chicken, or chicken Makhani, as they would call it in Indian restaurants that we have up and down Ireland and in the UK. Not quite finished yet. What I'm going to do is here, just to make it that little bit richer, I have some yoghurt. I'm going to add in probably about, that's 3. You don't have to add as much in if you don't want, probably about 4 to 5 tablespoons, and I've mixed that round well so it doesn't split. You know, add 3 in, whatever your preference, you can add in and taste. I am going to taste this a wee bit, just to see if it maybe need slight adjustment in terms of salt. Me personally, and while with almond powder, the sugar, and you just get that nice kick at the back of your throat with the spices. So I'm going to put this on low heat as possible. You can hear this roaring. That's it, not up full, by the way. My little burner makes that sound when it goes to the end, or goes too low. So it's fighting with the air. Nice bit of char that I wanted with the spices that I've marinated the chicken in, along with the yoghurt too. As I say, I don't want this to split. I'm going to put a lid on it. Okay. What I'll do is keep it at low. And more or less this is it finished. Well folks, this is the butter chicken, complete. A few wee small green chilies on the top, a few flaked almonds, just a bit of show off. That's it done. It'll be heated up later for everybody to get stuck into. Right folks, well you can probably tell, white beards maybe become yellow beard. This is my butter chicken. And if I may say so myself, this is bloody well delicious. Well folks, there we are. The butter chicken, or chicken Makhani, as you would know, we call it from the Indian restaurants that you go to. I hope you enjoyed it. It has been certainly, what do you call it, a labour intensive curry. Try it out, it's well worth it. I hope you enjoyed it. Please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. And I'll see you soon. Have a good weekend. Rock on guys.